Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to start the webinar soon, but we're just going to give it a few minutes to let people trickle in. If in the meantime you want to tell us where you are joining from in the chat box, we'd love to hear. In fact, let me check it out now. Fort Wayne, Florida. Welcome. Toronto, Canada. That's a place I've always wanted to go. It's on my list. I've heard it's beautiful out there. I'm in the East Coast as well, but I'm down in PA. Hi from Georgia. Welcome. Charlotte, North Carolina. Love Charlotte. And Herb, I know your name. I feel like we maybe had a masterclass set up one day. Hi, Shelby, am I pronouncing that correctly? We did have a masterclass, I remember. From India, welcome. Thank you for joining so late. Is it, I know there's different time zones in India, but I know probably regardless, it's very late for you. So thank you so much. Josh from Baltimore, welcome, Josh. Let's see, it's already 3:32. That went quickly. Okay, so welcome, Veronica. I'm so happy to see you guys. Yeah, join us every Friday. We have fun here. All right, hi guys. Okay, I'm just gonna minimize this and then we're gonna start the presentation. Any questions that come up, type them into the Q&A box that's right here. And at the end, we will discuss some more. Feel free to hit up the chat box as we go and start a conversation, okay? So today, I'm gonna move myself out of here. We're gonna be talking about bringing interior 2022 interior design trends to life in Foyr Neo. That's me, and do make sure to follow us on our LinkedIn page. Definitely follow us on our Instagram page. That's where we have the most fun. And if you are using Foyr currently and taking renders, post them on your design accounts on Instagram and tag us. We love to support our designers and share your work in our stories. So be sure to do that as well. Alrighty, so the top takeaways that we're going to get from this webinar today, obviously first we're going to be discussing the top interior design trends of 2022. I can't believe that we're already approaching 2022, but here we are. And then we're going to be going over the top catalogs, so product catalog searches and texture catalog searches so that you can create these trends in Foyr Neo. So it's going to be specific words that I recommend you search for to really grab the items a little bit more easily so you're not just kind of searching aimlessly. And then we're going to quickly go over how to upload and edit custom textures, and textures are a big part of the trends in 2022. So let's jump right into it. All of the photos that you see here, these are renders created in Foyr Neo using the products and the textures from the catalog. Keep that in mind. Let me just kind of minimize this a little bit and just bring it to the top. I'm going to minimize my face here so we don't have so much covering this up. Alrighty, so if you have been with us for a little while, you might remember the post that we did on 2021 interior design trends, and that was back in January. And what we're seeing now as we approach 2022 is there's a lot of overlap. I think one of the biggest things is that we're still dealing with the pandemic. So there's definitely going to be discussion as we go through these trends about how the pandemic, which greatly impacted our lives and how we work and play and learn, how that impacted interior design trends. But what we're seeing is we're seeing this overlap from 2021, but we're also seeing a really nice refinement of those 2021 design trends. And I'll talk a little bit about more about that in a second. So the first design trend is neutral palettes. 2021 we really started to bring in earth tones. And these tones that you see here are still earth tones, but in the 2021 trend, we were bringing in much darker, deeper earth tones. So we were talking olivey greens, mossy greens, clay, kind of those really like digging into the soil and drawing inspiration from there. Now, as we progress into the 2022 season, we're still taking a cue from nature in so many different ways that we'll be going over, but we're lightening up those shades a lot. We're keeping things more neutral and leaning towards more monotone shades in our interiors. And it's a softer approach, right? It's a softer look, and there's a trend towards softness in our interiors that we'll go over a little bit more in later slides, but just overall, we're kind of softening up and we're brightening it up. I think that this is a reflection of kind of the collective conscious, right? The pandemic has created an impact on interiors in two ways. It's impacted how we physically operate in our interiors and therefore how we've changed it, but it's also impacted our mental state, right? So I think that the lighter, brighter tones are a reflection of what the collective conscious is really craving, which is just a little bit of uplift. We'll go to the next slide here. So what are we talking about when we say neutral palettes? We're not just talking our paint colors, we're talking lighter wood tones, warm, kind of brushed gold tones, my favorite. You'll see those here on the cabinet hardware and on the lighting. Lots of natural materials. So wood, stone, jute, linens, all that, right? And textured walls. So something with plaster, which we'll go to the next slide. And what's really nice here is that one more kind of note here, you'll see that there's some accents of black, and this just makes the space complete, I think. Having all light shades with no contrast falls a little flat. So we're seeing these warm, neutral tones throughout, contrasted by like light detailing of black, like we have here in this vase and here in these in the frame of these stools. Also just so sophisticated. You're going to see that again here as well. We've got these neutral fabrics, and then we've got some nice black accents to really contrast against this. What you'll also see here, okay, I'm going to move that up so we can see this. What you'll also see here is the textured walls that I was talking about earlier. So this is plaster that you can find in the texture catalog, and drag and drop it and apply it to the wall. So that being said, in the texture catalog, which you can access in 3D mode, you can narrow your search to plaster, which is in the wall category. You can go to the other category, and I'll show you guys this on editor in just a second. You can go to other category and narrow your search to eco-friendly, and you're going to find things like rattan and wicker. If you use Sherwin-Williams, if you're US based and you use Sherwin-Williams, we do have a relationship with them. So you can type into the search box in the texture catalog SW_, followed by the numerical code associated with the paint color, and it will pull that up. Don't worry about the name of the paint matching up. That will change from time to time, but the numerical code will always remain the same. So let me show you that, and then I'll show you how to do a custom texture upload. So I'm just gonna minimize my screen here. Forever moving this little zoom bar all around, but here we are. Okay, so in the texture catalog, first we'll go to wall, and then you'll see you can narrow your search to plaster or concrete even. We've got some nice kind of like whitewash rustic brick. Or you can go to other, and other you're going to find a lot of things that are nature-based in terms of texture. So down here you can select eco-friendly, you'll find that rattan and wicker, and then we'll go into some of these liquid and ground and at a later slide. Alrighty. Let me double click here. I'm just going to zoom in. So let's quickly talk about uploading a custom texture. Let's say you find something, even though we have a very extensive texture library, if you have something very specific that you're not finding, you can upload a custom texture, and all you have to do is take a snapshot of your screen and crop out anything that isn't the texture itself. So what you're looking for is like the swatch example that the website gives you, not say it's a wallpaper. You're not going to take a snapshot of the wall in like a staged photo with a sofa and a lamp. You're going to avoid that. You're going to go to the page where it's just the little square of the wallpaper, and that's what you're going to take and bring into the software. So you're going to take a snapshot, save it to your computer as an image file, so PNG or JPEG, and then in the texture catalog here, you're going to go to upload textures. I use this feature all the time. It's my favorite thing. So I have a folder on my computer called Textures for Foyr Neo, and you'll see here that I have a number of different things if we scroll down. I've got a rug, I've got a paint color here, another rug, wallpaper. What you want to avoid is this right here. So see this like ripple here and here? You don't want that. You want it to be completely flat. So here's a nice fabric option, completely flat. I've brought in artwork from site and then just applied it to an existing frame that I've dragged and dropped from the catalog. So let's say we select that, we simply click open, and within a few seconds, it's going to upload into the uploaded folder, which is right here at the bottom of our texture catalog. It's going to automatically bring you to that folder. And now you simply drag and drop. So let's say I wanted to do that rug. I'm going to go to the catalog. I'll find an existing rug in like a neutral tone. Drag and drop it, go to my texture catalog, drag and drop. And there we go, it's that simple. So you'll see now it's basically imprinting the photo onto this rug. So that's why you want to make sure that there's no border around here and nothing else but the texture, because that will also reflect on the surface, okay? If you want to change the size of your texture, let's say it's a tile, and it's not quite matching the size that it should be reflecting in real life, you'll select the product, click on edit, and then it's going to give you the option to edit the dimensions if it's a product that you've dragged and dropped from the catalog. And then down here below under object parts, this is where you're going to edit your textures. So this is showing me a picture. The only texture I have is this rug, so I'll select there. It's going to bring up this window here, and now I can edit the size. I can rotate. I can offset it on the X and Y axis, and I can change the tile size, which is an option for you, or you can click on the check mark here and you can change the number of tiles. So I'm just going to show you a quick example. If I change this to 5, you'll see that now it's repeating 5 tiles. Obviously, that's not what I want in this particular instance, but for something like tiling, backsplash, anything like that, that would come into play. So that's how you do that here. Alrighty, let's get back to the presentation. We went over all of that. Alrighty. There is no good place for this little thing. All right. The next trend is bringing nature in and taking a cue from nature. So there's a bit of an overlap from the first trend, but it's again really interesting how the pandemic influenced our need and our draw towards nature. The more isolated we had to become during the pandemic, the more we sought out bringing nature in. There's a million studies that show that exposure to nature and greenery improves our mental health. And so we saw people start to really bring that greenery in. So many people I know became plant people. Like plants became like their pets and their children. They care for them in the same way. They love them the same way. And creating like small kind of gardens in their homes to really bring that in. So to the left here, you'll see a great example. This is an outside kind of city rooftop situation here, but was created using these creepers, which are in the catalog, and we see some different botanical options. And aside from just literal greenery, we also have this trend towards natural materials. So this is a nice example here. So we're favoring things like wood, we're favoring structural changes like skylight, linen, jute, all the things that I just mentioned. You'll see that there's lots of little just like earthy elements like this leaf here, a faux plant, little seashells. So all of this is being brought in from the catalog. And here are a few more options here. So we have some dried stems and some smaller, cacti and some smaller items like this as well for this more detailed shot. And in the product catalog, you're going to search for words like faux, botanical, outdoor, plant, vase, stem, and flower. Under all of those words in the product catalog, you will find so many different options to bring greenery and plant life into your space. In the texture catalog, you're going to go back to other like we were before, and there under eco-friendly and also under ground and liquid, you will find all sorts of different options. And we have tons of, we've got moss with rocks throughout. We have regular grass, we have wet sand, we have dry sand, we have pool water, we have fantasy water, we have clear water. Everything that you can imagine, we have in the texture catalog under other. We also do in the product catalog, we have land cover, which is like a physical thing, a square with grass on it, or maybe a rock walkway or a brick walkway if you're doing an outdoor space that you can then resize. So that's in the product catalog. All right. Okay, next, dual spaces. So dual spaces and now designated workspaces, right? So whether it's work from home, homeschooling, or just doing virtual school from home, or even situations where family members or children who had moved out now needed to move back home during the pandemic due to loss of work, whatever it may be, we're seeing this trend carry over from 2021. And in some cases, it's here to stay, particularly the work from home situation. A lot of companies are realizing that no employees need to come into the office, or certain positions within the company, those people don't need to come into the office on a regular basis or at all. So these kind of temporary work from home situations are now becoming permanent, and people have to figure out how to adjust to that in their space. So this might be a place for all of you designers out there that you're really seeing design work come in. People are asking for help. How do I figure this out? So one of the things that you can look for in our catalog, we have a lot of different options for partitions, right? So what you're going to search for in the product catalog is wall panel, partition, feature wall, and room divider. We have options all the way from something very simplistic all the way to something much more elaborate, like you see here. This is the room divider used in a very large bedroom to create a bit of separation here. There's some really fun ones that incorporate those natural materials and bringing nature in. So there's one that's like a planter, a wooden planter at the base, and then has almost like a very simplistic straight trellis going straight up, so you can see through it, but it's a really cool space to plant like a vine, and then you can have it grow up. So that's one of the options in our catalog right now that incorporates all of those trends, including this one. So check that out. Okay. Next is rounded furniture and architectural structures. I am here for this trend. I love this. Softer, more feminine, like furnishing choices are being brought into the space. As you see in these two examples here, all of these products are available to you in the catalog. And this is, again, whereas like the dual spaces, like I said, is a very kind of real result of the pandemic. We have to work at home, we have to school from home. This is more of again, like an emotional impact that COVID has had on us all. As we move towards these softer edges, it's all about comfort, right? Softer edges, curved lines are always going to be more comforting than hard lines and sharp edges. So we're seeing this really come into play, and I just love it. I think it's beautiful. So what you're going to search for in the catalog, hold on. In the the product catalog. Sorry about that. I was trying to get rid of my little thing down there. You're going to search for words like round, curved, arch, niche. If you notice in one of the very early sites for the neutral palette, there were like built-in cavities, like little shelves built into the wall that had a nice soft curve at the top. You'll find that when you search for niche in the product catalog. Geometrics, I'm going to show you guys in a second and how you can kind of apply those. Doorway and ceiling medallions, you'll get all sorts of really nice curved edges. We have tons of windows that are arched. There's just so many options in the catalog to really create this soft feminine look in your space. Let's quickly go into editor, and in the catalog, you'll type in geometric. So if you're not already familiar with this, these are your best friend. I'm going to expand this. So this is just a number of shapes. Some of them aren't soft, as you can see here, but they all have applications. They'll dock to the ceiling, the wall, or the floor, depending on where you need it to. And so you can bring these in, resize them. Some are solid, some are hollow, and you can apply textures to them. So you can create spaces. You could create a curved shelf using this, apply it to the wall, give it a texture, and then put a plant, on top of it, right? And you're creating this kind of custom shelf. So check these out. The other day, actually on a webinar a couple of weeks ago, I used this to create a curtain. I applied sheer curtain material from the texture catalog, and I resized this guy, the cylinder, to fit around like kind of a curved curtain rod situation. So just get creative with it, but there's a lot of applications for these geometrics. Alrighty. Okay, and the last trend is both minimalism and maximalism. So this is one of these kind of phenomenons that emerged in 2021. More so the maximalism, surprisingly, right? We saw maximalism come through, as you can see on the right, in that grand millennial trend, also called granny chic. Cottage core was a bit of an offshoot of that, right? We're putting a lot of things in our space, very nostalgic. But in 2022, we're seeing both of these. We're seeing minimalism and maximalism. And I was trying to think about why is that? Why did both of these polar opposite, styles and preferences rise up in this upcoming season? And the theory that I came up with, and please in the chat, let me know if you have a different theory. If you totally disagree with me, let me know. I want to hear it. I think it depends on what your family situation was when you entered the pandemic. I think for people who had partners or families, kids, dogs, all of that, when we entered the pandemic, now everyone's working on top of each other, schooling on top of each other, playing, everything, all happening at the same time. And I think those people, with all of that chaos, started to downsize their maybe material belongings, or they just started to try and find storage options that could hide those things away and keep their environment a bit more sleek, a bit more simplistic, because chaos in the environment causes chaos mentally, right? And makes it a lot harder to focus if you're working from home. So I think people with a lot of people in the house move towards minimalism. And then conversely, people who are maybe single individuals who entered the pandemic that way, living alone, were all of a sudden really confronted with the emptiness of their space, sadly, and sought out maximalism to fill that space, right? And not just maximalism in terms of just having lots of stuff, but very nostalgic stylistically, right? That's where that granny chic comes from. Those kind of more antique furnishings, really heavy upholsteries, lots of patterns. It reminds you of grandma's house, right? So kind of filling that empty space with lots of things, lots of knickknacks that remind you of home, that remind you of loved ones. I think that's what spawned maximalism. And I think that's why even as we go into 2022, we're seeing both of those. It just really matters about who you are and what your situation is. So let me know if you agree or disagree on that front. So what you're going to search for these types of looks in the catalog For the minimalism, if you see I have this tray ceiling up here, I didn't have to build this out. It's available in the catalog. We have tons of ceiling designs. So in the product catalog, you'll go to building, which is the first category, and then the subcategories under that, you'll find ceiling designs. That's going to bring up everything. It's going to bring up pitched ceilings. It's going to bring up tray ceilings. If you want to look for tray ceilings specifically, you'll narrow your search even further to geometric, and you'll find a number of options there with this lighting included, so you don't have to place that in. Makes them sleek. For maximalism and for really anything, but especially for a maximalism style, you would go to staging. The staging category, we have just an endless amount of decorative objects and accessories that you can bring into the space to create that really intentionally cluttered and nostalgic feel of this look here. Alrighty. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys in terms of the trends that are emerging for 2022. Now we can jump right into the Q&A, and I'd love to read your comments. I'm going to start in the chat box because sometimes people add questions there, and then we'll go into the Q&A. What about built-in bookshelves from Herb? Is there something in the catalog for them? So built-in bookshelves, I think, would actually be better created in the Create New Product tool. Let me quickly show you what I mean. So Herb, here's what you're going to do. Let's say your built-in, I can actually show you a picture in a second, but first thing that you need to know if you're doing custom built-ins to the wall is that you're not so much building into this default existing wall. You're going to build out from it, but you're going to accommodate your interior dimensions, or make sure that they accommodate the depth of the built-in. So let's say your built-ins are 1 foot deep, you would add a foot. So if they're here, we're going to push these walls out 1 foot to accommodate for that depth, and then we're going to build it in. And what I would do, I'm going to double click on this wall just to zoom in here a little bit. You're going to use Create New Product. And when you click there, your tools are going to change. So I'm not going to be able to give you like a full rundown of this because it's a little lengthy, but you would use the rectangle tool to draw out on the wall the outer frame of your bookshelf. I'm just going to put it right here. You're going to use your pen tool to define the different areas of the bookshelf. Maybe we have cabinets down below, and then we have our shelving up top. You'll use, actually, let's undo that for 1 second. It'd be easier to use push-pull first to give this rectangle some depth. So you can set it to 1 foot, click Enter, and now we'll use our pen tool. We'll click and click. We're defining the area with pen, and then we're going to define borders with offset. So Herb, if you'd like to sign up for a masterclass, this is a really good, we can spend the whole class doing just this. So I'm defining my borders. I can use my ruler tool to click and map out where my shelves are going to be. And then I can use my rectangle tool again to define those shelves. This is rough. I'm doing this very quickly right now, but it's going to nicely snap into these dotted lines for me. And then I'm going to once again use push-pull to push back this area now and create a cavity. If you push it back all the way, it'll expose the wall. If you don't go back all the way, it'll leave a backing. So what you would do basically is build these out up against this wall, and that way your interior dimensions are still the same, so because you've accommodated that depth in 2D mode with your interior dimensions for your wall. All right, but that's how I would recommend doing that. We do have bookshelves in the catalog. Many of them have like crown molding and ornate, so building it out and create new products may be the better solution, but check out both, and we can definitely do that. Oh, awesome, good, that's what you needed. Definitely masterclass is needed. Sign up anytime. Just head to your dashboard and you can sign up for one. Masterclass, so Suzanne, yeah, you can sign up for a masterclass. If you are already a member of Foyr Neo, you have access to one-on-one 45-minute long sessions where myself or one of my lovely coworkers, Bernardo or Evelyn, will sit down with you virtually, share our screens, and walk you through how to use the software at large, or if you have a specific project that you're working on, and it's a complimentary service with your plan. Okay, you can access that by going to your dashboard, and at the very top, it'll say book demo, and you're going to go through that, and you'll go through our calendar. Sure, yeah, I think so. It's literally just on your dashboard. So once you log into Foyr and you're brought to that dashboard where your projects live, it's in the top right-hand corner. So I can't really give you a link because all of our dashboards are different, but that's where you'll find that. There's like a picture of a woman and it says book demo. Thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna head into the Q&A real quick. I wanna make sure that we have time for everybody. Okay, so Carla asked, might you consider adding leather as a material for wall covering? We have seen an increase in leather purchased for wall tiles. That's really interesting. I haven't heard about that. So we do have leather in the texture catalog. For tiling walls, let's leave here. We do have a bit of tile in the catalog, as opposed to, we have a ton of tile in the texture catalog, right? But we also have some physical tile like this, that's a product that you can drag and drop. Oh, not that one. Let's try this guy. So say this, and then you could always resize this, you could clone it. I'm just gonna make it larger so that you guys can see. And then you can go to the texture catalog, and under fabric, one of the subcategories is leather. And then you can simply drag and drop it. And you can create that leather tiled look. That's so interesting. But yeah, and then you can just use copy texture material to do this faster. And then you can just clone this here and space it as needed. Okay. All right, Herb, we talked to you. Josh, is there a way to save the lighting settings when producing renders similar to this? Yes. Yes. So if you already know how to save your views in render mode, it saves your lighting settings as well. You just need to make sure you update it. So let's go into render real quick. If we, moved our scene around a bit, let me bring that back out. And did all of that, we changed our camera height, and then we saved view as, and we gave it a name. And then we go into lighting, and we're moving this around and we're changing this. If we don't then click save view, it won't update the lighting. So just make sure after you've already saved it and given it a name, just click save view to update all those lighting settings, and it absolutely will. It's just like a Word document. You just need to update your save so that it's responding in real time. Martha asked, how do I show a specific patterned wallpaper if it's not in the catalog? So Martha, I hope you got your answer to this with the custom upload. That's exactly what you're going to do. You'll go to the website where your preferred wallpaper lives or is sold. You're going to take a snapshot on your computer of just the wallpaper, just that like swatch sample that it gives you, and then you're going to upload it as a custom texture right here. So I actually have wallpaper here. Click open, and then you just drag and drop it to the wall, and then you can edit that texture the same as you would anything else. So I'm going to click on this wall and click edit, and then I can go ahead and make some adjustments to change the size of that wallpaper. Okay. You can also, for wallpaper, it's actually easier to go to tile size, because you can set if your walls are 10 feet tall, you could set the Y to 10 feet. And then I think wallpaper, what is it, standard is like 18.5 inches wide. You could set the X to 18.5 inches, and then that's telling the software, okay, this is what this particular texture needs to be sized at. Okay. Let me know if that helps you guys. If I'm not answering them clearly, just give me a shout. Alrighty, so that is all of the questions that we have right now. I'll go back to the chat here. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Are the products in the catalog, do they have any prices that we can give a cost for? So the answer to that, Anne-Marie, is not right now. That is something that Foyr is going to be rolling out in, I believe, the next year, where you'll be able to create a shopping list and enter the pricing for your clients. So that is coming soon. And yeah, as we work towards becoming more of an e-commerce site. You're welcome, Martha. Alrighty. You're welcome. All right, we still have a little bit more time. So if you guys have any more questions, if you have any opinions on the trends, do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you have any different theories on why they've emerged? I'd love to hear from you. Oh, looks like we have another question. Can you show how to do an item grouping? Sure, Jasmine, yeah. Okay, so let's say we're gonna do a sofa, and I'll find like a floor lamp. So the first thing that you're gonna do right now with this software, this is getting a bit of an update soon, it'll be a bit easier, but for the time being, you're gonna make sure that anything that you wanna group is in free movement. So I'm gonna select it, put it into free movement, it's gonna add that arrow, and I'm gonna select this and do the same. Then I'm gonna click on this, I'm gonna hold down Control Shift. If you use a Mac, it's Command Shift. Click on it, click on this, you'll see that both are highlighted, and immediately the option to group products appears up top here. You'll click Group, and then when you click off of it and click back on, now you can move these items together. The software is getting a bit of a facelift, and in the future, you're going to be able to resize, clone, and do all of the same things that you can do for individual products to grouped products as well, and they'll resize at the same time. So that's coming very soon. All right. Oh, awesome. Okay. How do you make an OBJ file from a picture online in order to use it? So the answer is you cannot. 2D images of photos cannot be converted into OBJs right now. That's something, and that's not specific to Foyr, that's just in general. So if you use, I'll show you how to ungroup. You just click on this item, and then you just click ungroup. And then those are ungrouped. So when they're grouped, it'll be the option up here. But Anne-Marie, back to your question, how you import OBJ files is if you are on the standard or the premium plan, you have two options. If you're on the basic, you just have uploads here. So for this doesn't use any model credits, and these are OBJ files that I've imported from the web. I use a website called Atlantis. It is not connected with Foyr in any way, but it is safe and free. So just putting it out there. You can find a furniture piece that you like. They don't have everything, but they do have some options, and simply select OBJ as the download file. Then you're going to click on Upload Model here. I'm going to quickly go through this. You're going to select your OBJ file. Zooms me in a little too much. Here we go. Here is our coffee table, and then to the right is just going to ask you to give it some information. So a name, a category, where you want it to dock from, the bottom to the floor, and then you can change your measurement units if needed and enter those dimensions here and click upload. When you do that, it'll upload into this uploaded folder, and you can drag and drop it. And then you can apply textures, and you can manipulate this in the same way that you would anything else from the catalog. Okay. The second option, if you're on the standard or the premium plan, is at the very end of our catalog here, you'll see it says My Models. You can place a new request. And what this is going to ask you for is a photo. So that's photo from the web of the furniture piece and all the dimensions needed to build that out. And then the product team at Foyr will actually build that out for you in 24 to 48 business hours and add it to your catalog. So this uses model credits. You get a certain amount per month, and that information is accessible in the account billing information on your dashboard. Anonymous, what's the name of the website for the Polantis, POLANTIS.com? Yeah. And chat, let's see. To Donna, same answer. Can you write the site answer? Sure, guys. It's called Polantis. I'll type it right here. Again, it's not connected to Foyr, but it won't give your computer a virus. So just a courtesy, I just mention it. Thanks, Brian. You're welcome, Jasmine. All right, let me go back to the Q&A. Oh, we got them all. Okay. All righty, we do have a couple more minutes on the call. So any last questions before we say goodbye to you guys for the weekend? One more thing. 3D files from a site called DB3D. For some reason, I can't modify the components of the model. Is there a specific of OBJ? So if I'm not familiar with that site. So if they don't have it as an option to download it as an OBJ, you might find a free file converter online that will convert it from whatever file format it's into an OBJ. So I know that there are free conversion tools online. You can convert like a SketchUp to an OBJ. That's something that's pretty common. So I guess it would depend on what your file format is that you're starting off with. I would just type in whatever that file format is to OBJ conversion on Google and see what conversion tools are available to you. But Foyr will only accept OBJs. Or you can use the model request if you're on the standard or premium plan, and then you don't have to do it yourself. Okay. Can you do exteriors of buildings and homes? You can. I feel like we should have a webinar just on exteriors because this question keeps coming up. You can absolutely can. In the texture catalog, if you go to other, not only can you apply textures to the outside walls, but you'll see that there's roofing. So there's some options here for exteriors. You can also do a custom upload. I've custom imported vinyl siding. I've custom imported shingles for the exterior of a space. We have in the catalog shutters, like outdoor shutters that you can apply next to the windows. The windows and doors will show from both sides. So yes, you can also use under the geometrics catalog that I showed you guys earlier, we have triangles. So you can place those on top here of the ceiling and you can create the peaks of homes. Okay. You can also use in the geometrics catalog the floor docked cube and resize it out here to apply grass textures or stone for walkways, things like that. And also check out land cover in the catalog here. That will give you like pathways, things like that. Webinar would be great. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Keep an eye out for that. Yeah, definitely. Oh, thanks, Josh, for helping out in the chat. Okay. Alrighty, guys, let me just check. Looks like all of our questions are answered. If you guys have any last questions, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. I really enjoyed this talk on design trends, anything interiors. I love it. Alrighty, so with that, I will say, give us a follow on Instagram, tag your work if you are uploading renders of your own. We'd love to share it and connect with you. If you're not currently a member of Foyr, please do check out our 14-day free trial. There's no credit card required, just an email address, so you're not committed, but you can give us a try for that 14 days. And thank you, Ryan. So the recording of this webinar will be on our YouTube channel, which Ryan has linked here for you guys. And you can also go to foyr.com, and at the top there will be a banner for next week's webinar that you can book as well. Alrighty. So glad, Martha. All right, hopefully I see you guys next week. Bye. Have a great weekend. And here's the link for the 14-day free trial. Alrighty. Bye-bye.